Hi, this is Hardball Retro. Today we will be reviewing the 1984 As Played season replay that I am currently in the process of playing. Um, as some of you may be aware, the As Played option in Digital Diamond Baseball and many other sims allows you to replay a specific season using the transactions as they occurred, using the schedule that was played, and using the lineups that were posted at the beginning of each game. Um, so you can obviously use whichever of those options that you like, or all of them. So this is the first time I'm running through a season uh, using this method, and um, I chose 1984 because that was the first year that I really began following Major League Baseball. So I started, or I decided to use 84 as a jumping off point. I may go chronologically, I might bounce around. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to proceed once I complete the 84 season. So I'm playing as the California Angels, my favorite team. All the other teams are managed by the computer. So with the as played lineups, I don't select the starting pitcher for the day or the lineup. It's basically whoever was scheduled to start a particular game is my starting pitcher. Whatever the lineup was is my lineup. So where basically what comes into play as far as me being the manager or the other computer managers is the flexibility within making substitutions within the game. But I am restricted by, um, whatever injuries occurred that year will occur here. The players will be activated and deactivated onto my roster as you know, uh, it kind of executes the transactions as I'm moving through the schedule. So, for example, um, one of my players is Daryl Sconyers. He was deactivated I think about 2 weeks into the season here, so maybe around April 15th or so. So he went off. He was deactivated from my 25-man roster, and John Curtis, a left-handed pitcher, was activated. So um, I don't have, nor do the other computer managers have any flexibility as far as that's concerned. And but I do have, the option to pinch hit who I want, or pinch run, or make defensive substitutions, pitching changes, and so forth. Um, so I am finding it interesting to try to determine when it's the best time to bring in certain pitchers who, got kind of beat up, or to use like Ron Jackson is my backup first base, third base, and he only hit once. I think it was 165. So when do I plug him in? Usually in a blowout, but there are certain games when he's in the starting lineup, and I have to make do with him in there. Unless I want to. I generally won't sub somebody out until like the seventh or eighth inning. So. Um, at any rate, let's take a look at the standings. Basically, this is the standings as of, let's say, the morning of May 1st, 1984, in my replay here. I've been kind of an up and down April for the Angels. We've only won 4 of our last 10 games, including, I think the Mariners took 3 out of 4 from us. And as you can see, they are not a good team, so that was a bit disappointing. We just lost a 1-0 game to Paul Mirabella, who was kind of a journeyman starter reliever back in the 80s. So let's take a quick look through the season overview through the games of April here. We'll take a look at the league leaders, and there was one no-hitter, so we'll take a look at that box score. And I think there was maybe one or two other box scores when we go into the special events reports we'll take a look at. Okay, so Looking at the AL East, we've got the Indians out in front, actually tied with the Yankees here. Um, Tigers, which we know the '84 Tigers ran away with that division, so that'll be interesting to see if they start to pull away here, or if we have a little bit tighter race. But they're holding on right now with just a half game back, same as Toronto. Baltimore only one back. Boston only 1.5 back. So really, the Brewers are the only team that are struggling at this point. So my Angels are out in front by a game over the A's, and everybody else is below 500 here. White Sox in particular, coming off a great '83 season in real life, off to a 7-14 start here. Let's look at the National League. We've got the Cubs out in front with a 14-6 record. As you're aware, the Cubs won that division in real life, with the Mets finishing second that year, I believe. So right now they're 1-2, with the Mets taking 8 of their last 10. Everybody else below 500 in the NL East, with the Phillies. Again, the Phillies were the division winner in '83, and they're starting off '84 in my simulated season with a 6-14 record. So having a rough go of it so far. Padres in '84, they won the NL West in real life. They are out in front by 2 games over the Reds. 2.5 games in front of the Astros. The Braves are above 500 currently. And we've got the Giants and the Dodgers coming in last thus far. Let's take a look at the batting leaders. We've got Frank White of the Royals out in front with a .389 average. Rich Gedman, Mickey Hatcher, Tim Tuffle, and Al Cowens rounding out the top 5 there. Home run leaders, Brian Downing of the Angels, Cal Ripken of the Orioles, and they're also tied for the league lead in RBIs. And you can see the other folks here. I did import the player photos, so that's a nice touch when you can see the faces, tie the faces to a name. You know, a lot of these I grew up. This is when I started collecting baseball cards as well. So a lot of these photos are familiar to me. If I hadn't seen the player on TV, I had their baseball card. So I've got Wally Backman leading the majors with a .397 average for the Mets. Dave Parker second with a .379. Terry Francona, .365 for the Expos. And that's Parker for the Reds, if I didn't mention that. Hubie Brooks for the Mets, .355, and Dan Dreesen for the Reds, .352. Home run and RBI lead, Mike Schmidt, no surprise there. 10-23, off to a great start. George Foster of the Mets, 6 homers. So we've got a couple guys tied with 5 here. Andre Dawson with 20 ribbies. And the AL pitching leaders, Mark Gubazov of the Royals, .071 ERA. Bert Blyleven of the Indians, 1.16. Then we have Mike Witt, Phil Niekro of the Yankees. Wilcox for the Tigers, 1.80. Steve McCaddy with 5 victories for the A's, off to a great start. And Luis Sanchez leading the league with 5 saves. All right, over to the NL pitching leaders. We've got Mario Soto ahead in ERA with a 1.1 and 5 victories. Doc Gooden's rookie season is next with a 1.16 ERA. Scott Sanderson, 1.23 for the Cubbies. Eric Shao of the Padres. And Ed Whitson also for San Diego, rounding out the top 5 in ERA. Len Barker and Eric Shao with 4 victories apiece there. And the National League save leader is Rich Goose Gossage with 4. Let's see our MVP and Cy Young races so far. We've got Ripken ahead of Downing. DeCinces third. Fisk and Armas rounding out the top 5. AL Cy Young, McCaddy over Blyleven, Witt, Boddicker, and Necro. NL MVP, Schmidt is out front by a good margin over Mookie Wilson, Jerry Mumphrey, Alan Wiggins, Gary Carter. And NL Cy Young votes, Soto, well ahead of Shao, Barker, Sanderson, and Nolan Ryan. Who's hot, who's not? Let's see. We'll just leave that up there for a moment. Current hitting streaks. Got Fisk with 13-game hitting streak, and Griffey Sr. for the Yankees with a 14-gamer. And we've got Garvey with an 18-game current hitting streak. Some highlights. And let's go now to the reporting section. Alright, well, we've seen the standings, we've seen awards. I don't want to get too in-depth here because we're only through 1 month of the season, but I did have a couple box scores I wanted to look at. So click on special events. I clicked over here. I'm supposed to click on view here, so that's why nothing happened there. Here we go. Not really too concerned about some of these categories. Wade Boggs hits for the cycle, drives in 6 runs, hit a grand slam. Let's take a look. Okay, there's the game summary. Go to the box score. 4 for 5, 6 RBI. Tony Armas also had a 4-hit day, and Stapleton knocked in 4. Who did they beat up on? Larry Sorensen, Keith Atherton, Mike Warren, and Chris Cotteroli all got involved there. All right, this is the one I wanted to look at. Mike Boddicker threw a no-hitter against Toronto. This was on April 17th in my simulated season here. So not a ton of offense for Baltimore, but they only needed 2 runs. They had an RBI from John Lowenstein, and that was the only RBI. 2 hits from Rick Dempsey. And Jays, well, they got no hit, so the only walks were Lloyd Mosby and Ernie Witt. Here's a early appearance from Kelly Gruber. He didn't really crack their lineup until 87 or 88, I think, somewhere around there. Yeah, I mean, pretty stout lineup to no hit here. Boddicker moved to 3-0 with the 9-inning no-hitter, 2 walks, 5 Ks, and tough luck loser was Doyle Alexander. So, yeah, I think that's the only, yeah, these are just complete games and shutouts. Yeah, we're going to ignore that. So, that's a quick summary of the month of April for my 1984 season replay. Going to continue to do this on a month-by-month basis, and I'll probably post some of the game videos. Definitely the playoff ones. I may do a couple games in season, but just to take a quick look here. If I go to play scheduled game, and again, this is Digital Diamond Baseball version 12. So one of the nice things here is you got the player photos next to the winning pitcher, and then you got player of the game. So, yeah, David Green, Bob Forsch with 9 innings, 10 hits allowed. Floyd Bannister here. Mike Flanagan, Tug McGraw. Here you go, Mike Schmidt, 3 for 5, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. Mike Marshall at the Dodgers here. Eddie Murray. So if you go previous day, right? You can look at, if you're looking for a specific game or favorite team. Here, let's look at the Yankees, Brewers, Phil Necro with the shutout. Right, then you can click in, see what the Brewers lineup was, what they did. Here we go. Here's Don Mattingly hitting 309 as of that game. And Steve Kemp, 387. Oh, I get a kick out of looking at some of these names and trying to remember either a baseball card that I had or a specific, game that I attended, or watching some of these guys on TBS or WOR for the Mets, PIX for the Yankees, and I'm struggling to remember the channel, but we did get Phillies games. But at any rate, so you can just move through the schedule here, and now you can see May 1st is the next game on my schedule. I've got Tommy John squaring off against Mike Warren, and both of them with ERAs above 5, so that might be a bit of a slugfest. And again, with the player photos, it's nice to kind of be able to see who you're facing. It's not just plain text. So, at any rate, I'm going to wrap this up here. This is our April 84 season summary, and hope you enjoy this. Keep playing ball, take care, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.